and welcome back to Med School Radio. I can't remember if I was in junior or senior high school when the song Tom Sawyer by Rush first came out. All I remember is that I used to crank it up.
This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
And we're back with another question. A 25-year-old woman, gravida 0, para 0, comes to the office for a routine gynecologic examination. She has no specific complaints. Her first pap smear from 3 years ago showed normal cervical cytology. Last year, she received 3 doses of HPV vaccine. So remember these points. She's 24, never been pregnant, never had a baby, and she is here for, her pap smear from 3 years ago was normal. Last year, she received 3 doses of the HPV vaccine. She is sexually active with 2 male partners and says that they use condoms intermittently. She is otherwise in good health, and her medical history is non-contributory. Her paternal grandmother was diagnosed with cervical cancer at 55. Which of the following is the most appropriate option for the patient at this time? At this point, I'm already very confused, and I'm wondering how to read the question stem. So I've been reading that you should read the last part first and then look at the question choices. But in this case, the question choices are really long. So I might read the last part that says, which of the following is the most appropriate option for the patient at this time? Which will give me a hint when reading the question stem, supposedly. I don't know, it depends on the type of question, but I'm getting better at reading the last part first and just scanning the questions. I think it does help. Anyway, the questions here, the choices are A, do not perform pap smear at this visit. Women aged 21 to 29 years old should receive combined cervical cytology screening and HPV co-testing every 5 years. B, do not perform pap smear at this visit. Women do not need routine cervical cytology screening if they have received the HPV vaccine. Remember that she has received 3 doses of the HPV vaccine. C, more information about the patient's family history of cervical cancer is needed before a decision can be made about cervical cytology screening. D, perform pap smear at this visit. Women 21 to 29 years old should receive cervical cytology screening every 3 years. Or E, perform pap smear at this visit. Women with multiple sexual partners should receive cervical cytology screening more frequently than the general population. Does she have more than one partner? Let's look up. She is sexually active with 2 male partners and says that they use condoms intermittently. That's what I chose. I chose that answer, but it was wrong. The answer was D, perform pap smear at this visit. Women 21 to 29 years old should receive cervical cytology screening every 3 years. The major takeaway here is cervical cytology screening or pap smear for cervical cancer with colposcopy is recommended every 3 years for women aged 21 to 29 years old, and cervical cytology plus HPV co-testing every 5 years in women aged 30 to 65 years old by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists is recommended. So there you have it. That is the quick answer from osmosis, and there is a longer main explanation, which is very good. I'm going to just read that. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists recommends cervical cytology screening every 3 years for women 21 to 29 years old. The preferred screening regimen for women 30 to 65 years old is cervical cytology screening plus human papillomavirus. Man, I can't even read it. HPV co-testing every 5 years. Women should follow these screening recommendations regardless of HPV vaccination status, because available human HPV vaccines do not cover every strain of the virus. Family history of cervical cancer does not change screening recommendations, although personal history does. The etiology and risk factors involved with cervical carcinogenesis are amenable to study as invasible Invasive cervical cancer typically arises going nuts here. Typically arises after many years from a morphologically defined precancerous lesion. However, since untreated high-grade lesions can progress to invasive cancer, most women with cervical intraepithelial neoplasia, or CIN, 2 or 3 are treated promptly. Accordingly, there are few reports on the natural history of high-grade dysplasia. On the other hand, not all CIN lesions progress to invasive cancer. In fact, spontaneous regression of moderate dysplasia has been reported in up to 54% of women. You know, the reason I read these is because I find that reading them aloud makes me remember them. So if you're thinking of doing a podcast, or if you're thinking of a way to make you remember the MCQs better, just read them out loud or record them and play them when you're on the train or in the car. It's really a great way to remember them, by listening to your own voice, even when your voice sounds as crazy as mine. And add a little bit of music to make it more fun too, which is what I do. So let's play something. Thanks for tuning in. What should we play? I know I overplay a lot of the music. I played it before. I'm going to play it again. I think I'm going to play this Cinema Paradiso sound. I really like this. See you next time.